Evelyn. And what a special day it is today. We're celebrating just a day early, however. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, which is a very special, wonderful day for everyone. And I know sometimes it can bring sadness in people's families too, though. But today we're, in your family or you as an individual, either one, but today we're thinking about just positivity, which is so important to have a healthy mind. And today I have two wonderful guests with us. This is Ken and Margie Dillon. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you all today?
Doing good.
Good, good.
Once we got past that accident.
Yeah, me too. We were just talking when we got here. There was an accident on Bissonnet. We all come from the Sugar Land Rosenberg side, and traffic was backed up for I don't know how many miles. So, but good thing we all live here and know how to take back roads.
That's right.
Definitely. So I wanted to hear about your background. And of course, I've known you for a little while, and I know.
Yes, we've met at like-minded community meetings on Wednesday.
Right. Which is a wonderful networking group that we have in Rosenberg.
It's a good networking group for different organizations to network.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
What
And
can
help
you do
each
for me?
other
What
and
can I do for you?
refer each other and all that.
I was drafted into the Army in 1971.
Okay.
After a week in the Army, I was offered a school of my choice, so I chose to sign up for another year to get the school of my choice, which Margie didn't like at the time.
Right.
But I don't regret doing it. So then I ended up spending 3 years in the Army, 8 months in Vietnam. And when I came home from Vietnam, I came home to a brand new baby girl. She was how old?
Wonder.
2 weeks?
10 days.
10 days old.
10 days then,
And then 18 months stateside duty after getting home from Vietnam.
And so you all were married before you went to
Yes.
Vietnam then, okay?
We were married
Alrighty.
in May of 70, and I went into the service in February of 71.
Okay, wonderful. And do you have just the one child?
3.
Oh, 3, okay, great.
I tell everybody he left me barefooted and pregnant in Tennessee when he left.
Like that old saying, right?
He found out that I was pregnant after he left, and then he missed all the pregnancy.
Yeah, the whole thing. And so as a wife of a veteran, and at that time active military, which we have that women and vice versa, you know, men that their wives are gone to and take care of the children or whatever, that must have been very difficult as a new wife and doing all of that.
The personnel, they do not understand that the Red Cross, it took 3 days for him to find out.
Oh, wow.
That he had a daughter. You know, it was, and now it's instant, you know.
Which is wonderful, yeah. Thank goodness for our modern technology, and you didn't see that, you know, back then too. So
He would stand in line to call me for hours.
Yeah, all those things are so different than it is today, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
We still have the security that's needed
Yes.
and, you know, all of that too. And before we go any further at all, I want to say thank you very much for your service.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And your sacrifice also.
Thank you.
Definitely. We Americans appreciate that
Yes.
so much. So without, I know we could talk for hours and hours about Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
But tell me, what was your position and,
I was
and your rank and so on?
aircraft maintenance on Huey helicopters. I did that for a while, and then started flying as a door gunner for a crew chief. And then when I came home, we were, like I said, stationed in Fort Stewart, Georgia, where I was a crew chief on a medevac unit there at Fort Stewart. So got to see a lot of the country in Vietnam, you know, by flying, which she claims she didn't know about, but
there's certain parts that might have been good that you did not know about, right?
Exactly. Yes. But, it was a rewarding experience, you know. Of course, you know, when you're drafted, you really don't want to be into the military, but then when you look back on it, you know, you wouldn't trade it for anything. So you make a lot of friends, lifelong friends.
I bet.
And it's just something that you'll never forget. And I constantly think about it every day.
You probably can't help but not, in a way, and I know
Oh,
that
no.
was a long time
No,
ago,
it's- right.
of course,
Yes.
you know, too,
But
so.
it's always there in the back of your
Yeah.
mind, you know, what the experiences that you go through.
And like I said, we're being, you know, the whole thing about our nonprofit, Advocates of Healthy Minds,
Right.
is having positive and
Yes.
healthy minds.
Yes.
You know, but unfortunately, a lot of things do happen that doesn't always happen.
Right.
You know, with everyone, and so that's why we're advocating for that and doing all kinds of things to help people get better in that capacity.
Which is great.
You know, definitely.
yes.
But I'm sure there was a lot of feelings and thoughts you had after being in Vietnam
yeah.
too,
Oh,
and.
yeah.
I know it was a whole different ballgame when all of you came back from Vietnam than it is now with our military.
Yeah. And reason I only spent 8 months there is because in '72, when the war was winding down somewhat, President Nixon was bringing troops home early. So I got a 4-month early out and didn't have to stay the full tour of a year. So,
And I'm sure you didn't complain
No,
about that
no,
in a
I
way, and
didn't.
I'm sure
I didn't.
Margie didn't for sure.
we had plans to meet, and I can't remember now if it was where, Hawaii,
Yeah.
for an R&R. And
Uh-huh,
then I found out, you know, that I was gonna get to go home early, so I said, well,
Right.
let's just cancel these plans, cause you know, what's the point of seeing each other and then have to say goodbye and then, you know, so we just decided to wait until I got home, you know.
Yeah.
to-
Right,
see
and
each other.
during that time too, I'm sure with your little child, you were thinking that this money can go
Oh,
for
yeah.
some things we might need
Yes,
to.
yes, oh, yes.
You know, all of us that have had little children, or no matter what, it costs to live in this world, doesn't it? You know,
Definitely.
And so you were saying earlier that you've been married almost how long?
50 years.
50 years.
50 years in May.
Congratulations. Isn't that the one you have a big party, a big party that you made it that long, right?
We're waiting to see what the kids might say about that. you
Yeah.
know, Whether or not they're gonna do anything for us or if we have to do it on our own, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Our kids are so busy that it's hard to get a week that all of them can take off. And that's what they asked me what I wanted, and I wanted a family vacation.
Oh, that'd be great, just because on a vacation, you get that time to visit and really enjoy each other than just a quick hello or.
Yeah. So we'll see,
Whatever,
we'll see
so-
what happens.
We
Okay.
have 9 grandchildren
Oh, okay, I was gonna ask you how many. That was my next question. You read my mind, Margie.
and 8 girls,
Oh,
only
wow.
1 grandson.
I'll be darned, yeah.
And they are all very active in sports, so we travel to watch
Oh,
their,
and get
to watch their
that.
sports.
I think that's so important too, because a lot of times that
Yeah.
doesn't get to happen in our
Yes.
world anymore, that grandpa and grandma live somewhere
Yes,
else across the
right.
country or,
And we do have some
Whatever,
that live in
you know.
California,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
we don't
okay.
see them as often.
right, right.
But we've traveled to Reno, Columbus, Ohio, to watch volleyball. Because we have 2 granddaughters that play college ball.
Oh, wow,
So-
okay, okay. Great, so you're seeing some scenic places. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's good, and getting to go different places and all that too, and I'm sure the granddaughters appreciate the support, they really do, so.
Sure.
So you wore your VFW shirt today.
Yes, I did.
So
This
tell
is-
us, for those people that don't know, what is the VFW?
VFW is a veterans organization, and VFW stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars. And to be a member of the VFW, it is exactly what it says. You have to have served in a foreign war during a conflict or, you know, some sort of campaign to be eligible to join. So when a new person comes and says, I'd like to join, first thing we have to do is look at their DD-214 and verify that they served, you know, during that particular campaign or conflict. And then we can certify their eligibility. And
And what do you do as a VFW group?
we help veterans. We, at our post, we have bingo twice a week. The auxiliary has it on Tuesday. The VFW has it on Saturday. And the proceeds go to help veterans and charitable organizations in the community.
Great.
So that's our main purpose, is to assist veterans and other organizations that assist veterans. And we have one group that we help, and that's the Peace Lutheran Church. They do the military outreach program where they send care packages to troops overseas.
Okay,
The
wonderful.
postage is their biggest expense. So that's where we try to help.
Right.
Both organizations help with, a donation
How do they
every quarter.
decide where overseas to send it? Is if it's a family member
I don't know how
perhaps,
they choose
or
their
the
the group
area?
that they go to. I've never,
Anybody that has a service person overseas, if they get in touch with Peace Lutheran, they will start
I
sending them
see.
packages.
Okay.
And in fact, they have, I think Evelyn said they have 8 that graduated from the Lamar School District in Rosenberg.
Oh, okay.
So
I guess they
Good,
target
yeah.
local veterans.
Yeah, local
Yeah.
veterans.
Yeah.
That's a great idea
Yeah.
because then it's
Yeah.
the families and
And they get
everybody know
feedback
about them.
letters. They get letters from the troops
mhm,
thanking them for their
Right.
care packages and so forth. And
another thing that we do to help the service people and their families overseas, we send coupons,
Oh.
and they
okay.
can use them in the PX.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
we get a lot of feedback from that.
Oh, great. Then they can get whatever they need,
And use the
whether it's
coupon.
socks
And use-
or whatever.
Sure.
The coupons. And
Yeah.
in fact, the lady that handles it at our post, she won an award from the state for her dedication
Oh, how
for doing
nice.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Ken
Wonderful.
didn't mention that we give scholarships to local students, and we have a fantastic art program. And some of the students that are in these schools, they are fantastic artists. It is
Oh,
just
yeah,
amazing.
we have some talent in our area.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, for the junior high kids, they write an essay,
Oh,
and then we grade it. And they can, after they win on the local level, they go to district, and then to state, and then they go national. And when they go to national, that's where the big money comes in for scholarships. Yeah.
get those larger amounts that they need since college is a little pricey these days.
yes,
But this year on the junior high, when we had that, we had almost 300 applicants.
Oh my goodness, wow. That
That-
must have been tough for those of you that had to
lot.
make a decision as
Yeah.
to the
Judging.
winner.
Yeah, we had, I was able to get 3 retired teachers to help
Oh, wonderful.
with the judges.
Great idea.
yes.
And so it was a trip, you know.
But that's the VFW's
Yeah.
purpose, is to help and support veterans in any way, whether they're down on their luck or if they
Right.
just need some food money if they're passing through, or, we've helped quite a few.
A lot of people do not realize that that the VFW doesn't keep any money other than operating expense. Everything else
Goes to help veterans.
goes back into the
Right,
community
right.
and to help.
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. 'Cause
Community
with our-
involvement, through the organization.
And that's so important. I know
Yes.
there's VFWs all
Yes.
around the
Oh,
United
yes.
States, and
Yes.
excuse me, and so on. So it's very important to help because we have thousands and
Yes.
thousands and thousands of veterans in the United
Oh,
States
yes.
now,
Yes.
and that have served their time and done their, did what they needed to do, and so on.
I have a fantastic service officer that helps veterans with their benefit claims, and he can meet with them, anytime they
Right.
request, and
Yeah.
that's something, that you
Right,
have to.
and to know how to
continue-
do
and
that.
to know how to do it. To
Right.
do the paperwork.
Right.
And that's just, he's just awesome.
And he helps service people that are not members also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
We'll help anybody that's
Yeah.
served
Right,
in the
that needs
military.
that.
Yes.
Because I know, going through the VA and, excuse me, going through the VA and everything is a
Challenge.
challenge.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Ken. I
Yes.
appreciate you helping me with the right word here. And
Very
I know there's thousands and thousands of veterans in just the Houston area, and
yes.
the VA tries really hard and so on. I know they help a lot of people, but there's
Right.
just not enough, I think, staff to help everybody that needs the help too. So,
Exactly.
and with our organization also, I personally myself worked with several different veterans, and that's one of the areas I've heard is getting their benefits.
Right.
And I know a lot of people think, well, what is it that besides PTSD and that type of thing, which is very serious, of course.
yes.
But I've met veterans that have knee issues
Oh,
just
yeah.
from, parachuting down a plane so many times that they've hurt their knees or whatever, and then to get a job,
Yeah.
it's difficult sometimes if you have knee issues
That's
or
right.
whatever body
That's
part.
right. And it's never too late to
You
apply.
know,
And there's so
Well,
many
that's good.
veterans who have never applied for benefits until they need medicine. Then they go apply, and then, to get benefits. Like,
right.
I have 7 brothers, and 5 of them were military,
Oh, wow.
but they cannot join the VFW because they didn't fight in a foreign war. They were during peacetime. But it was,
But that way you could help them and tell them, because it is
Sure.
quite a system you go through
Oh,
to
yeah.
the process to go through to get the benefits that you deserve from all those years of fighting or whatever area you were in,
Yeah.
however you served
They
in a
still
Cold
served,
War.
they still served their
Exactly.
country,
Right,
which is
right.
great.
And all of the jobs, like what you were
Yes.
doing, are
Oh, yes.
so
Oh,
important.
yes. Every person's job is important.
Absolutely, you have to have everything to have
Oh,
it
exactly.
run well.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, definitely.
when Ken and I retired, we decided that we wanted to do something to volunteer. So he said, well, let's volunteer with the VFW. We didn't realize it was going to be a full-time
It can be a full-time job in itself, right?
job.
Volunteer one.
Volunteer full-time job. So,
Right.
It's definitely give us something to do.
Definitely. And
but we've met so many wonderful people.
oh, yeah.
So many wonderful people, all over
Yeah.
the state. And it's just, and then we went to a midwinter conference in Austin, and I got to meet the national auxiliary president from Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so, it's very interesting to meet people from all over the United States.
And also, like you said, to see the people that, like yourselves, are volunteering to
Sure.
help others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is wonderful. So, well, since it's Valentine's Day, we have a little surprise for you all today, and mostly for Margie, however. And so, Margie's smiling. So, come on in, Joseph.
Joseph.
I'd like to introduce you to Joseph Washington, who is also a veteran and from in the Army. Both are Army people. And so we have a surprise for Margie on Valentine's Day.
Okay. On behalf of Valentine's Day, from your husband Ken, I have to present these flowers and a telegram to you.
Oh, a telegram. Military wives, they always dreaded telegrams.
Did they?
And-
Oh,
and-
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
right,
this telegram,
right,
this
yeah.
is
This
And
is
they
a
always
good
this is a good
telegram.
telegram.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Will you be my Valentine? Will you be mine and only mine from now to the end of time? What I really like to say in a very special way is Margie, hey, happy Valentine's Day. Oh.
Beautiful.
Valentine's
Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yes, and stay here, Joseph,
Okay.
because we're going to talk to Joseph next also.
Okay.
And I was teasing Margie that she wore the exact color top that would match the flowers too. So, and so I'm going to ask if you all
Sure.
would step out just for a little
Exactly.
bit here, and so I can
But thank you
talk to
both.
Joseph.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. You
Thank
paved
you.
the way for us.
Well,
Yes.
and the ones before
Yes.
me.
Beautiful song.
Man, thank you so much.
Yes, when I advertised our show that we were going to have a special today, I didn't get a chance to say so much to you that about a friend of mine that has a wonderful voice.
Yes.
And so that was lovely.
Yeah, thank you.
Very
Thank you
nice.
for having me.
Yeah, so we're glad to have you
Man,
here.
Thank you so much.
And so you've heard part of our conversation. And so you're Army,
Army,
of
yes.
course. And
Yeah.
so where did you serve? And tell us your background.
Well, my Army career started at Fort Knox. Fort Knox, I did my basic training there, and then from Fort Knox to Fort Hood. And I did one combat tour, Operation Desert Storm. So M1A1 tanker with 19 kilos, my MOS. So spent time in Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Kuwait, and then between Kuwait and Iraq. So
Gotcha.
6.5 months.
Gotcha, okay. And so what year would that have been then?
90.
Okay,
Yeah, 90.
okay, because
So
I was
first
comparing
Operation
to when
Desert
their
Storm, right?
time. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, so good. Yeah, well, thank you for your service.
No, thank you, thank you.
And sacrifice also.
Right, I always tell people that we always thank for our service, but we're nothing without the people at home, because that's where we get all of our support emotionally and packages that is sent. That helps a soldier every day, so reading letters, care packages and all that.
Right, to get that support.
Yeah, to get the
constantly,
support.
'cause
You
you're
need
so
it.
far
Yeah,
away.
so far away, and
Right.
with all the activity and danger that you face, it's important.
And every day, too.
Every day, yeah.
So, yeah.
Every day.
And we, talked about the positivity and everything, and ever since I've met you, you have a wonderful positive attitude about everything.
And I try to do my
So,
best.
yeah,
I try to do my best.
definitely. So what would you say if you had people asking, how do I keep this positive attitude?
Well, I mean, my thing is more spiritual. God has blessed me to survive a war. Combat is, and
right.
we lost a lot of people. I mean, throughout the history of war, and I was blessed enough to make it home. And that positivity kind of, it resonates.
Right.
And I feel that every day is not guaranteed, but especially during combat, you never know what'll happen. So.
Right.
I take that positivity and try to spread it amongst family, friends, or colleagues, whatever.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it would be like every day, well, day and night, 24 hours a day.
It's not an easy thing to go through, and like Mr. Dillon, his situation was a lot, more. I mean, it was more dangerous than mine because they were in a jungle. At least we were out in open desert, so we could see. So, so my
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, my
Right.
respect to all of the veterans, Vietnam, World War I and War II. So it wasn't easy. Combat is never easy, but with the conditions that we were in, it was easier than theirs.
Right. At least you could see.
Yeah, at least you could
what
see.
was around
Exactly.
you and that type of
Exactly.
stuff too. So, and I know you had all kinds of things to deal with,
Oh, yeah.
weather-wise, and
Weather-wise.
scorpions,
Scorpions, vipers,
and all kinds
spiders,
of
and
things.
everything. Yeah, they were more of a danger, really.
Yeah.
Because you had to deal with that in close quarters.
Right, right. And wondering if you're sleeping
Yeah.
at night, if one's coming
Yeah.
nearby you.
And, a danger was what they told us to make sure that when you slept at night, the desert was freezing at night. So you had spiders or snakes or whatever that would crawl up, maybe in your boots or whatever. So when you get up in the morning, you had to make sure you shook out your boots.
Yikes.
Yeah, because they were cold too, so they would try to get to the warmest
Right.
thing. So
Right.
so
Oh, I bet you saw several people that were surprised a couple times, right?
yeah,
I think that's something that if that ever did happen to you once or anyone else was around, that it
always
happened
cautious.
to, yeah, you would definitely not ever do that again,
no,
for sure.
never. For sure.
That's right. So when you came back, job-wise and that type of thing, how did
What'd you-
you find that? Were you able to find a job?
Yeah, the job-wise, it
easily?
wasn't
Yeah.
hard because I may have spent maybe 3 months just getting used to, society again. Because, once you're in combat and away for that long, things have changed once you get back home. And so you have to, recondition and, and settle back into what normal day is. So when I got back, I worked a job just for that summer, but then I went to college right after that summer. So
Okay.
and
Okay.
so the job market was good.
And it helped when you went and
Yeah.
got that degree too.
Right, right,
and
exactly.
Everything. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I know you're a busy man. You
Yeah.
work a couple jobs actually.
Yeah, a couple jobs.
Everyone, this is a very energetic man. Or a
thank
tired
you.
man, one or the other, right?
Thank you.
Because I know you deliver with FedEx.
What,
or
and actually, yeah, I work for FedEx,
yeah.
and then I work for an oil and gas company as well.
So daytime job, evening job, weekend job,
Yeah.
holiday job.
And I do personal training as well, so.
There. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh, that
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So good.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
well, that's good. You have a good life and
Yeah.
that you've transitioned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
because I
sure
know
did.
with our organization too, and of course we partner with all kinds of different organizations
Right.
too. And a lot of times, just like Ken was saying too, is that transition back. And just
It
what you
can
were
be difficult,
saying
right?
is very difficult.
And so that's the thing I say, well, I'm blessed because some people, some of the military personnel that come returns emotionally damaged, and then you think, how can they hold a job if the emotional state is not there? So, I mean, that's a hard thing, and they have to get the help. I think society has to do more for the veterans, because it's difficult for you to go to combat and
I
return
agree.
back to a normal life. After,
Because right now, as you and I are talking, I'm imagining being in, I've seen pictures, that type of thing, of
Right.
course, Afghanistan or wherever,
Right.
Iraq or so on, and then coming back here and, your family, your loved ones, friends, whatever, looking for a job and going, hey, let's just go to a movie today, and compared to being in the, on call as
Right.
such every second when
Every
you're in the
second.
combat zone.
yeah, combat zone is not easy, and what I have to say that I commend Ken on is the fact that they were facing the enemy there in Vietnam, and then when they came home, the U.S. wasn't treating them. They would call, baby killers and all that. I mean, so you had it on both sides. So much respect to him, for dealing with
Right.
that. So at least we didn't face that when we got back.
Right, because the Americans saw more what
Right.
was happening then too,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
so on. So, well, obviously, like I said, you have a beautiful voice.
No, thank you, thank
and,
you.
I know that you've been doing singing telegrams for a while.
Yes, for a while.
Yes,
right,
so
right.
tell us about some of your most fun singing telegrams you've gotten to do.
Well, I mean, it was so many. I mean, I've done proposals that I've done, I think one of the, I guess, most memorable ones was a proposal that the guy called me and told me he wanted to propose to his I guess, wife now, but fiance
Right.
then was,
Yeah.
she worked like a 3 a.m. shift, and I had to get there about 2:30 before she left, so he put the ring out in the car. So I got there about 2:45, got the ring out of the car and knocked on the door, but he said she probably wouldn't answer because it was so early.
Right.
So he woke up
Right.
and had her to go to the door. Normally he would answer the door, someone would knock at that time of night, but he made sure she was safe about that, and we did the proposals. That's one of the most memorable ones. So,
Wow. Oh my gosh. Surprise, surprise.
yeah, surprise, yeah.
And so you got to actually sing "Will You Marry Me?"
Yes, yes.
kind of thing.
yeah,
So
yeah,
okay,
just sort of-
good. Yeah. What, did anyone have a camera at that point?
No, no, they didn't.
No, no. Darn
No.
it. Because that would be a very unique
Yeah,
proposal. So.
definitely. Definitely.
Well, we really appreciated, Ken and Margie coming today
Oh,
for
yeah.
one thing. We had, I know we've talked about this for a few years
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And
I'm glad we finally got it done.
I know,
Yeah,
yay.
yeah, we got it done.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. And I know we were hoping to have someone that was overseas.
Overseas, yeah,
And
for
to
sure.
be able to sing.
But I think this worked out pretty good, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I think
did.
so, yeah.
Yes, and what a perfect couple being married 50
50
years.
years, yeah, definitely.
You
yeah.
know, and so they've been Valentines a long time.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is wonderful. And now with your
Exactly.
singing telegrams, do you do those all over Houston?
All over Houston,
every
yeah,
Valentine's Day?
Yeah,
And-
Valentine's Day is
yeah.
one of the most popular days for the
Yeah.
telegrams, but I do like birthdays, anniversaries, or whatever like that.
All
So.
of that too, so.
But yeah, Valentine's Day is the most popular.
Yeah, that is very cool, and how fun to do that, to
Yeah.
be able to go.
It's,
What a
I
joyous
enjoy it, yeah.
thing, yeah.
The ladies seem to be really appreciative, so.
Right, right. So I don't know. One of these days I'm going to have you sing to me. I've always wanted to have a singer
Absolutely.
sing to me somewhere, at a event or something or whatever. So
Right.
next year it'll be my turn. So okay, everyone, I get to have you sing to me
Right.
next year, right? Well, time flies and our time is up. And
Okay.
so, but it was great to see you
But
again.
great
and-
to see you too. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And like I said, with our veterans and our first responders and so on, that all of you are so important, and I don't
Yeah.
know where we would seriously be without all of you. So
thank you.
I don't even want to think about that. So.
Well, we appreciate you all as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. And anyway, so happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. We just celebrated a little bit early. It's okay to start today, right? And probably people will be celebrating through the weekend, I bet. So that's okay
Absolutely.
too. So
Oh, happy Valentine's Day to
Good.
everyone.
thank you. And same to
Thank you.
you,
And
by
to
the
you.
way,
Thank
and
you.
to all of you out there. So